Good afternoon, RPG Limit Break. This is DVS, and I am joined in the booth by Danny. Danny, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good. First time I've ever done comms on a bingo match, so this is going to be interesting because for those of you who've watched, you may have noticed that big old square on the right's a bingo board because we're doing some FFR bingo today, folks.
Yeah, in particular, we're doing double anti-bingo. So I'm going to take a minute and explain some of the rules while Danny gets our runners ready to go. So basically, it's the same idea as all of the other double anti-bingos. Each of the runners is going to pick a row or column for their opponent that they have to do, and then they get to fill another row, column, diagonal of whatever they want. So Sawneyrath has chosen top left to bottom right for Caleb. And Caleb has chosen column 3 for Sawneyrath. So, before either of them can fight Chaos, they have to complete the row they were assigned, or the line they were assigned, as well as one other row, column, or diagonal. Their choosing doesn't matter. So we'll be keeping the bingo board updated. I believe pink is Sawneyrath and teal is Caleb.
Yes.
And, yeah. Oh, one thing to note, they do not have to light orbs. They do not have to light orbs. And they can dive Topher before finishing their row and columns. The row and column stuff is just for fighting Chaos. So, in order to fight Chaos, they have to do the row, column, diagonal, not necessarily going down to Topher itself.
Yep, and I just let our runners go, so they should be.
Yeah, they should be catching up in just a little moment now.
Oh, well, hang on. We're having a weird something with the race room. 1 second.
Alright, so while Danny's figuring that out, let me give you a little background on the parties. Ooh, I didn't notice Sawneyrath had the Mario sprites. I don't think I've seen those live yet. So his black belt is Luigi, white mage is Peach, and the thief is Yoshi. Interesting.
Alright, there we go.
Awesome. So our runners are ready to go. A little bit of background before we go into the seed, because it's going to pick up pretty fast. You'll notice that both runners are taking the same party, and it's quite the interesting one. It's a black belt double white thief, and that's because all party members were forced. That being said, we do have what's it called? Tavern mode on, so they can change it in the future if they need to.
So white magic, we have life 2, which is white and red mage learnable. Checking the tavern we have a red mage. And it looks like Matoya in Canaria Castle.
Yeah, we didn't get quite a chance to explain that yet, but we do have entrance and floor shuffle on. We also have towns mixed in with our entrance and floor shuffle. And it looks like Cake, Fire 2, Lit 3, and Rub in that black magic.
All in all, pretty good white magic.
Yeah, I mean, like, Life 2 is always a great thing to have, but I feel like in the early game, the spells that I'm actually looking for are things like Harm and obviously Fade, but I think Harm gets kind of a bad rep every once in a while because it's really effective in the early game.
Depending on, because everybody knows I don't typically take a white mage, but depending on what is in black magic and what my party comp is, if I see Harm at level 1 and I don't have a good sweeper in black magic, I will absolutely pick up a Harm spell because it doesn't work great. It doesn't work on everything, but the things it works on, it works for a while.
Yeah, exactly. I like how Lord Fizzlebeef said it in his Time for Learn series that Fade is the dollar store version of Nuke, and Harm is the dollar store version of Fade. So, like, it does a ton of damage to those undead. Ooh,
yes, it does.
Wow, look at those +7 nunchucks.
Yeah, we got an opal bracelet out of Matoya that Sony just briefly went to see how much it sold for, and I guess decided it was worth keeping.
Yeah, and I think, did we see gold +5s in there too? Yeah, by the way, our tracker, Reese Wolf, is behind the scenes, keeping track of everything for us. And he's written down, yes, we do have golds for 24K and pro rings for 12K. And Sonny's giving us our first look of Temple of Fiends, and it is a Cardia Isle. Now, so, Danny, we all have our own, like, approaches to entrance and floor shuffle. Like, do you have a typical route that you always use, or do you kind of just go however you feel when you start?
Pretty much a lot for me is like it's those first checks. I'll run straight into Canary Castle, see what's there, and then it's magic check, like shops checks, all those things in Canaria. And then a lot of it is kind of what the similar routing would be in a normal scene, just because you don't know where anything is, so it's just clearing out kind of those first areas first, like seeing maybe what's in the Temple of Fiends area, what's at Provoca, Matoya, those type of things. So routing for me doesn't necessarily at the beginning of the game change too much, but based on what I find, like kind of in those first few checks, can determine like where I go after that.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. Because especially if I run up into a check that's like Ice Cave in Matoya or something like that, I'm probably gonna nope out of that and head over to Provoca or Elfland. And I did learn something recently, and so I feel like the more you like hang out in the dev chat or ask questions in our duck pond, you get tons of extra answers. But I finally learned what it means to have unsafe start. That one flag when it's Flora entrance, unsafe start. And apparently, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if you don't click that, our standard way of doing entrance and floor shuffle has 3 entrances on the inner C that are not horrifically awful. So basically a Cardia Isle, Temple of Fiends, a town, something like that, guaranteed to have 3. If you do check that box, that little safety net is removed.
Yeah, I think that's one of the maybe the newer flags that probably got added after some horrific floor and entrance shuffles that we've seen come and go. So it's one of those things that I've learned here recently too, which is kind of nice. It's like a little safety, whatever. Like I'm gonna give this to myself to make sure that, you know, when we roll this, it's not horrible.
Yeah. So it looks like, you know, we've got not really much divergence. I saw Caleb head up to Matoya. Ooh.
We've got a Warmack on the way to Matoya. So I saw Caleb go up there and knew it was Titans West. And we had like the Interparty and Provoca, and we've seen like other, but yeah, that sure was a Warmack.
Yeah, so if you didn't catch from that one little encounter there, we do have unleashed Warmech on these flags. So what that means is our runners can run into a Warmech at literally any point in the game, whether it's on the overworld or in a dungeon. Warmech is always potentially there to give our runners a hard time. And I do see a great question in chat from Gaming in Retrograde. So what does all of this randomize? Basically, it randomizes everything. Our current randomizer, actually the one that these guys are playing, is going to not only randomize all of our treasures and incentive items, it's also going to randomize every single entrance in the game and every single floor in the game.
And towns, and it's like we took all the entrances, the levels, the towns, we put them in a bag, shook them all up, threw them out, and they just landed everywhere. And that's kind of what we're doing today. And okay, well, we're kind of explaining that Caleb found a Cardia past an ice floor and then the sky maze in which he found the canoe. And I want to say I saw him pick up Hello Warmac, but he saved. The loose slab.
Yep, yeah, that's what I saw too. And I think so with our current flag set, you know, you can incentivize any item. We do have all of our key items are shuffled in with the treasures. So like the canoe, the floater, yeah, all of those are shuffled in with all of the other treasures. And we have 0 incentive items. So what that means is all of our key items can be in any chest anywhere in the game, and that's probably why you're seeing our runners check every single chest in every single room.
Yeah, it feels real good when you go into a party of 3 boxes and 2 are loose items.
Yeah, well, and like on top of that, you also get an experience and gold buff. So for these flags, we have experience in gold at 2.5 times plus 250 and 5% per key item. So from that one Cardia Isle, Caleb ended up getting an extra 10% of experience in gold for every single battle. Oh man.
I was gonna say, I'm not the most knowledgeable about like how the encounter table works and where things fall on it, but boy, that Warmac seems to be showing up a lot in it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the same thing. I mean, Warmac is supposed to take a relatively rare spot on the encounter table, but it looks like he's gonna pop up over and over and over and over again.
He's feeling very friendly today, and he's just like wants to just pop up a lot and say hi.
But that's tough in the early game, but it's actually really good in the late game. So, like, there is a point where you can get strong enough to take out a Warmech, especially if you have that black belt. So you might see in the late game, one of our runners try to actually defeat Warmech because it has the greatest amount of experience in the game. Ooh, and it looks like we have Nuke at level 5. Sorry, sidebar. But yeah, like, Warmech has the greatest experience in the game, and so taking out a Warmech is an actually really good late game grind.
Yeah, and as often as we're seeing them in this seed, it's like, oh, Warmech grind. It's like, if you really want this level spot enough, and you get to a point, like, and he ends up rolling, like, where he doesn't have a ton of HP or doesn't have anything nasty once they actually try to fight him, because right now it's Warmech and run. It could be very doable.
Yeah, well, I just took another look at the flag set, and boss stats are clamped at 100 to 300, and boss HP is at 200 to 400. So that Warmech is going to have at least 2 to 4 times the HP as normal, and hit potentially upwards of 3 times as hard. So yeah,
a very tanky chunk of metal today.
Yeah, that might be a tough one. Oh, bingo. Yeah, we should probably talk about bingo. So, you know, as I said earlier, we're doing double anti-bingo. So, Caleb has to do top left to bottom right. Sawney has to do column 3. They both have to do one other row on top of that. And so, we have, for Caleb, to see Flash or Trance, melee the pirates, cake the dead, examine all computers in Sky 3, bracken the Kraken. And for Sawney, we have collect and keep gloves, cap, buckler, and cloth, see heat or cremate, cake the dead, take 2 thieves, and save in the lake north of Waterfall.
Okay, the save in the lake north of Waterfall made me giggle just a little bit because I've never ever seen anybody do that before.
Yeah, I think
bingo's fun.
Yeah, well, and I think we have some prep going on for a double anti-bingo tournament in the next couple months, and I love those troll squares. Like, you know, like checking all the computers in Sky 3, throw the Vorpal out of Sky 3, like look at all of Sarda's pots, like all of those kinds of things. It's just like goofy and weird.
Yeah, those are fun.
So what's like the square that you would least like to have on this board?
Probably. Jeez, I don't know. See, let me look. Probably something like the one Caleb has to, the Seed Flasher Trance. Something like that, just because that is going through a lot of fights. If you don't find it in the late game, having to find somebody who has it to see it. If you don't know, like if things just the way they can roll, you may not know who's gonna have it in the seed. There's ones you can try. Yeah, that one I'd automatic for me would be like, oh no.
Yeah, we actually had that flag on Friday for our hardcore Irongol match where we did a blackout bingo, so you had to fill out every single square. And the Flash Trance was my last square, and it was an hour and something minutes on just that one square, and I still never found it. They had to tell me what it was. So yeah,
that may have been one of the reasons why that was my answer.
We do have Life Reboot in chat, which, hi Life Reboot, great runner in our community, asking, do you get to pick your own row or column, or do you choose it for your opponent? And the answer is both.
Both.
So you get to, your opponent chooses one for you, and then you get to pick the second one.
Yeah, the way he was, like we said earlier, like the way Double Ante Bingo is done is your opponent, you pick a column for each other, and then you pick one of your own. So you have two different columns that you have to complete before you can take on Chaos, or if the flag set, which I don't believe this one has like alt boss on, whatever the final boss is, you have to complete those two columns before you can take on the alt boss. So you can even go into Topher if it means trying to find something on your column that you haven't seen or been able to do yet. But to defeat the final boss and win, you have to complete the two rows that you have assigned to yourself and the one that your opponent assigned to you.
Yeah, and like I know Caleb's actually been playing a lot of bingo recently, and just talking about strategies of, hey, if you haven't seen that Flash Trance yet, why not just dive Topher and try to see if you can get it on the way to Chaos, so you're not like running around the overworld, you're still progressing. So we'll see if one of our runners ends up doing that a little bit. Does Warmike have first turn nuclear? I think so. That's disgusting.
Yeah. That feels like seeing Wormack that often. Like we hadn't seen anything yet, and for the most part, they seem like they were able to kind of run from him pretty well. But yeah, that makes that feel much worse.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious on the strategies at the moment. Like, I keep seeing Caleb dive this sky floor, and we have, Sawney's heading off to Malmund, and it looks like he's heading down to Titans and into what's it called? Yeah, Titans and Earth Cave. There was something that Caleb got. What was the thing that Caleb got up here? Oh, it was the two incentive items.
Yeah, when he went past the one ice floor, I know it ended in a cardia, but he went past some things to get there. So I think maybe he's just making sure he has everything cleared out. Oh. Yeah. We have a lot of cracked eggs and a dead black belt.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling this play by Caleb. Well,
he got Riz saying in chat, and we may have missed it, that he may have wiped on the way out.
Yeah, like, I think he's going back for the key items. I agree with you on that. He might be just trying to dive at different points. Ooh, and we have a crown in the waterfall, which is nice. Ooh, and a bottle. Okay, so here's I think what my point would be. Sawneyrath just went down to Earth Cave to find Waterfall and got the exact same amount of key items that Caleb is trying to get by rediving this entrance over and over. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that Caleb moves on sooner rather than later.
Same, but the fact that the canoe is the item that he lost, I kind of understand continuing to go back and trying to get it out because
Yeah.
that opens up a lot of other places he may need it for. So
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, the canoe is one of those like incredibly vital key items. I think what's going like first of all, Sonny has no idea that the canoe is there, so his play makes perfect sense.
yeah,
I Sentry's coming out with Blizzard. Like you still have Earth Cave, Titan's East, and Crescent Lake, and I don't know if we have Northern Docks on. We do have Northern Docks on, so you also have Onrak. So I feel like I would chance those entrances before doing these redives into the same entrance.
oh no. We got past Sinner's and then we started the war map.
Caleb, leave, please. Just, it's okay. Come back later.
He wiped and he took that pause before re-entering. I felt that.
Yeah, I felt that too.
That's that just that deep breath. It's like it's like, come on, game. You take that deep breath, you recenter yourself, and you're like, all right, here we go.
Caleb is leaving. I think that's the right play. Sorry. Greater than less than has a katana +8.
Wow. Okay, and if I'm not mistaken, one of Sonny's tiles, is he has to take 2 thieves. So once he finds thieves in a party member store in one of the towns, he's gonna have to take 2 thieves to beat the game. So finding that katana +9 is really good for Sonny.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, that there's no question that for like, well, and to go back. All right, scale back. Blurst is on. However, Blurst in this particular flag set is set from 0 to +9. So every single weapon or item can be buffed all the way up to +9. And so seeing that katana +8, it's great that it rolled to +8 instead of like +1.
Yeah.
I just noticed Sawneyrath has a Diddy in his item list.
Yes, he does. I know Caleb. I think they both had the and an Aegis +4 from the king.
So for those of you who
but if you don't have a fighter, that's vendor money.
Oh, absolutely. It's good vendor money too.
Sure is.
We do have what was I going to say? Oh, right, multi-instrumental Sarah. That's where that particular flag comes from. So the Diddy that we referred to, I think Caleb might have a base. Basically, what that flag does is replaces the loot with any number of like 30 or 40 instruments. I feel like I keep finding them, and puts that in the inventory instead of loot.
I love that flag so much. It's honestly some of my favorite flags are not even like ones that affect the game much at all. They're just like the fun flags or something like that, and I love that flag. I remember the first time I saw it, it was on another community member. They were just doing a race and they were streaming, and they had turned it on. I didn't even know it was a flag, and I just saw a jingle in their inventory, and I was like, what in the world's a jingle? Like, oh, that's the loot. And I'm like, this may be my favorite flag ever. I'm real fond of a couple of things. Like the hurdy-gurdy. It's real good.
I love how that came to be, too. It was just this, like, random idea thrown out in the dev chat, and people just started naming random instruments that they had heard of. And, like, it just kept going on and on and on and on and on, and our devs just took that entire list and plugged it into the game, and now we have multi-instrumental Sarah. Reese Wolf pointing out that he once got poem. I got a limerick once, I think.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of cool stuff in there.
It's like, no offense to anybody who's watching from a different community, but our devs are the best.
Well, I mean, I've only been here since April, and I feel like we've had probably a dozen new features just in the time that I've been here. And that's not really an overstatement. Blurst classes, blurst weapons and armor became a thing. Chaos mode, multi-instrumental Sarah. Tons and tons of new stuff coming out. And Lich's Revenge, a great flag set up by Wild Ham. It's awesome. I agree.
Yeah,
I 100% agree.
Our devs not only do amazing work, but boy, do they just like see some of our crazy ideas and then just make our wildest dreams come true. And they're great. Big shout out to all the FFR devs because they're a great bunch.
And I'm noticing Sawneyrath has been rediving this waterfall, and I think what's happening, it seems like he doesn't have any save items, because he keeps walking from Canaria all the way over to this Earth entrance, and then trying to go all the way back. Do we not have save items in the Canaria shop?
I think the problem isn't that we don't have save items, it's the save items in question, because they cannot use cabins or houses. So they can only use tent. And I think that's the issue.
Yeah, I can see that. So, okay.
And I still am fine with tent in Waterfall. So if he got out and used it, then I think we're good.
Yeah.
And moving on, so I think we are.
Yeah, because he picked up the bottle and there was something else.
The crown.
And the crown. Yep. Bottle and crown. I didn't see if he... Oh, you know what? Our tracker's saying Melmund had Northwest Castle in it, so I'm wondering if he's just trying to figure out all of these incentive locations and filling those before trying to level up or dive anywhere else. Now, I will say, if there's a flag that has hurt me more than any other flag or bingo square, it's cabins or houses. Sorry, I just looked at chat and Rock Solid 84 already typed DVS struggles with that tile before I even said anything. So max shout out to Rock Solid 84. But yeah, on Friday we said that it's a 10-minute penalty if you accidentally use a cabin or house, and I got to sit on my menu screen for 10 minutes, right into the race.
I did notice it before, but in the box beside the Katana 8 was a ribbon.
Yeah, that's a great early game pickup.
It sure is.
And I see Sawneyrath down on Marsh Bottom. Is that the floor that... It seems like that's the floor that's after greater than less than, and he found the rod in the top right chest.
No, I think he is in a different place. Like, he went down towards Crescent. And I think with the locations that are there, he's in there somewhere.
Yeah, so maybe I should, actually, read things.
Hey, a rod and a chime on Earth. It's like all of these items are just carefully clustered in one floor in a few places.
Yeah, and and there's big strategies on, different approaches. Ooh, it's the Bridge of Destiny. Look at that.
We have a Tia that we are not in any way, shape, or form okay taking right now.
And then Caleb walks behind that first room. It's okay, man. Focus. Yeah. You're fine. You'll do okay.
Hey, we lit a square. He talked to 5 bats in Marsh. Maybe that's what he was doing. He's hunting down bats. There we go.
All right. So now let's do some bingo straps. Let's talk bingo. So, Son. Oh, I thought you were saying something.
Oh no, I'm just giggling to myself watching Caleb walk around Marsh just to kill bats.
So Caleb has that top left to bottom right. He's in a really good position to get his second row automatically. So he has to keep the dead, and killing 3 different lizards means killing a lizard, an agama, and a saria, which you typically always run into anyway. Or he can look at column 2. He already has to melee the pirates, and defeating carry 1 is typically something you do anyway. So it looks like Caleb's in a really good place to fill out his 2 rows columns diagonals pretty quickly.
Yeah, with not having the flag sets the way they are with free orbs and stuff, he doesn't actually, like, this is a flag set where you wouldn't actually have to kill carry, but once you have levels and stuff, that is, if you know where carry's floor is, that is a very easy box to mark off. Just like at the end, oh, there, yeah, I just remembered where carry was, so there we go.
Yeah, I will point out too, because we've been talking about this cabin and house tile, they don't have to use that tile. Both of them decided that they weren't going to use, force the other to stick with that tile. So at any point, they can just use a cabin or house and negate it. I think they're going to try to keep it for as long as they can, just in case. But with how this board is filling out, I don't really know if I would do that right now.
Oh no, it's like we almost got. Okay, we were just one down. We've almost got to the robot. Question in chat: what does Quake the Dead mean? Quake is one of our magic spells in the game, and basically just means any undead enemy in the game, you have to use that spell and defeat one of those. It can be anything from just going and quaking Lich to one of the other enemies in the game that is considered undead, and you just have to use that spell on them. Not one specific one, just any of them, and you can mark that off.
I think it actually has to be Lich 1 or Lich 2.
Does it?
Because of the meta, yeah. And the same thing with, Bane the Dragon. So it's specifically baning Tiamat.
Oh, well, today I learned a thing.
Well, the reason that I've picked up on it, from Friday, Caleb wrote a very detailed description of every single square and what it meant. So, yeah.
That sounds like a very Caleb thing.
Yeah.
I can see that.
He tries.
All right, well, we're headed back into ice. We got to where we needed to go. We got our items. We did not make it out.
Yeah, and it looks like both of our runners have decided, you know what, the whole, don't use a cabin or house thing, let's just get rid of that.
Yeah, not worth it. And I think a lot of that is because we really haven't seen tents anywhere, and yeah, I get wanting to use that, but if you're not going to, that just be like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah, and you looking at some of these other things, Garland boxing is not very hard. Having a level 40 on one character, it's a black belt seed and you have a black belt, might as well use it.
Yeah, and with the scaling on these flags, you with a black belt, if you keep that black belt, you're going to 40. So
yeah, and typically we even have there is a go to level 50 square that often winds up on the board as well. And so when you have both of those, it's oh, I have a black belt, I'm just gonna go to 50 and get 2 tiles right off the bat.
Yeah. Which, not only marks off a square on your bingo board, but the 50 black belts just gonna wreck everything in its path. So it's a double win. It's a win-win.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I just saw one that, okay. So there's another one here I want to talk about, just kind of as we're going through, and that's kill 3 different dragons. So specifically, those are the red D, the gas D, the blue D, and the frost D, I think, are the options for that one. And all you have to do is kill one of each type, or one of 3 of those types, and that takes up that square.
I think those, like, I'd have to do, like, make notes before, like, erase before using some of those, or one that's, like, different, like you said, the 3 different of anything, like, whether it's, like you said, the dragons, or it could be the giants, or all these different, because there's different options for those. I would 100% have to make notes beforehand of what, like, all the different ones were, because I would either not know going in or forget and just be like, wait, what counts as a thing? Like,
yeah. So like, I like when I run bingo, I always have paper in front of me trying to count everything out. And Rock Solid pointed out I forgot zombie Ds in that description. So yeah, zombie Ds count as well. The one I don't like is giants. Actually, there's a tile for killing 3 different types of giants, and that's the standard giant, the frost giant, the red giant, and I don't know if there's an extra one.
the one I remember from a couple of days ago, that I think it was like kill however many different, was it lizards maybe? And I read it and I went, wait, what all counts as a lizard? Like,
yeah, I actually had to throw up to
yeah.
Caleb's description of craziness. And Reese, thank you for pointing out there are only 3 giants. I thought there were, and it was like, that's why I don't like that particular tile. But we do also have a question from Gaming in Retrograde. If they kill something for a square and then die before saving, do they have to do it again? The answer is no, they do not.
Thank goodness though, because there's as many times as, like, depending on the flags and how you, like, scale things and stuff, like, as much wiping as we've seen, like, thank goodness that it's one of those things where, like, no, if you do it once, we're gonna count it, because if you, like, wiped afterwards, it could be a thing that take a while.
Yeah, especially with things like Sea Flasher Trance, like killing dragons and stuff. Like, some of those things are pretty tough to pick up.
Okay. Oh wait, I was about to say, Caleb, you almost left your canoe, buddy.
Yeah, well, it looks like he's diving back again. I didn't see what levels he was at, but he's probably in much better shape than he was before.
Yeah, his levels are definitely, like, a good bit higher than they were before, because he was in here, like, right at the beginning of the scene, trying to dive here. So his levels are better. That alone will give him a better chance of getting out of here with these things.
Yeah, I think, and I haven't seen Sawney come back to this. I think he just found out that the Bridge of Destiny was at the end of that one dungeon, and I'm wondering if he's going to head back to where we have that Karyata. It looks like Northwest Castle. It's a really garbage place to dive early game, but as Caleb found out, it actually has probably one of the most, if not the most important item for this particular flag set.
Yeah. Like, Sonny hasn't made it enough, so Sonny doesn't know what all's down there, or that, you know, the canoe is there. So he's still checking a lot of other places. And said Caleb, knowing it was there but just couldn't get it out, did a couple other places, came back with better levels, and I'm not going to say anything until now, and now he's out with his canoe.
And instantly saving. Saving. That's one of those where you do a double save just in case. Like, like you hit the button to use and you just wait for a couple seconds and look at that now loading at the bottom of, or now saving at the bottom of the screen, just in case.
Yeah, that's one of those things where you've had that much trouble getting out. you get out the door and you don't take another single step before you drop a saving item of some sort.
I do want to point out something because I love this game. I love these runners. I love people that love watching this game. Sawneyrath just went into a room that I bet if you've been watching Final Fantasy Randomizer, you might have never seen a runner walk into that particular room before, which is the top left room in Marsh Bottom. And he just checked another one that's not very well checked, and that's because they're actually linked chests. So that top left room is actually linked up with the right chest in the room with two chests in it. I know that's kind of a tough description, but again, you see some of our more advanced runners who understand linked chests and where everything is and how entrance and floor works. That's when you're going to see some of these newer checks that you might not have seen before.
I don't recall if he checked the chest behind the tile there before, but he walked in the door and then noped out. So either he checked it the last time he was here before he wiped and knows there's nothing there, or he's like, I don't know what's on that tile and we're not risking it.
Yeah, I could, like, with how much these guys have wiped already this seed, I could see him saying, you know what, I already have like 2 or 3 key items from this floor. I'm gonna go out, I'll save, and then come back. That would be my play. I mean, especially if it's a trap tile that might have a decent... Ooh, he doesn't actually have any save items.
Oh no. Okay, yeah, that definitely makes that not checking the tile, like the box behind the tile there, make a lot more sense, because that not having any save items, and he is not even remotely close to anywhere to get any save items.
And I did just notice that we do know where Melmond and... Oh god, Caleb. I'm sorry, buddy. We do know where Melmond and Lefane are, so Caleb translated the slab and then turned in the translated slab in Lefane and got a heal pot. All of that for a heal pot.
Oh boy. Well, at least there was still a canoe. Like, at least he didn't have to, like, if I had done all that all those times and got nothing but the heal pot, I would be tilted off the planet right now. But at least, like, he got the canoe out of there, and that's a thing that is good. Otherwise, yeah, that'd be awful.
And Caleb did find one of the best rooms in the game to find when you do entrance and floor, especially if you have loose items or shard hunt, and that's Sky 3. Oof, with Ice 8 and a floater.
Yep.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful room.
That room's real good. That floor is real good. That right room's real good, specifically.
So I think there are 8 plus 6. 14 chests in that one room, and it's a pretty quick check too.
Yeah, 4, 4, 6, 14. That, and Caleb found that floor in the ordeal's location. So even getting the floater, like, you're not gonna find the floater somewhere else and then be able to, like, canoe. Like, the floater was canoe locked. So
yeah, so that definitely gives Caleb quite the edge when it comes to what's going on right now. I mean, yeah. I think I like this play to go up to Mirage. I don't know if he just doesn't remember what's under Northwest Castle, or if he knows how damaging that particular square can be. But he's going to go check out Mirage and get Ordeals.
The worst place to see, and I mean, being that he's there, it's a place where it's got, I mean, it can be, without warp and stuff, it can be a bit of a pain to get through. But once you get through, you've got, just 8 chests, possible key item. So as long as it doesn't take you too long, you don't get lost there. It could be a quick check that might lead to something. Caleb finding the adamant on that Sky 3 floor in the 4 chest right to the left, And then, oh goodness gracious, found C-Split. One of the two places you hate the most to see in Flora Nature Shuffle.
But if you're an audience member, what you want to see after this is like the first floor of Krakenside right into Marsh Split. Something crazy like that. I mean, the whole C-Split into Marsh Split entrance is your least favorite as a runner and probably most favorite as a spectator.
I've had, and on the right we've got Rod locked, which Caleb doesn't have the rod yet, so he can check this floor, but he can't. He's like, nope, I'm not even gonna check it. I've had some just. I remember last year, 2019, when we were doing my co-op partner spells up, and I had just finished a co-op practice. And Falconic, one of the people who was head of the co-op tournament stuff back then, the first year, and one of the people who did all the flags and stuff, and I got a Flora Nature Shuffle, which I had never played before practicing for co-op, that had the C-Split into, like, one side, like, 4 floors, which led into the Marsh Split, which had one side that was, like, 2 floors into ice, and then the other side was, like, 2 floors that ended in, like, or a few floors down that ended in something else, and it was all required. No exit, no warp. And as soon as we finished, the first thing I did was message him, detailed how horrible it was, and I was like, what have you done?
I think...
And he just messaged back and thought it was the greatest thing ever. And I'm like, no, it's...
I'm sure. So while we were talking about that, Sawneyrath just cleared out ordeals, and he found 2 very, very important key items. Well, 1 key item and 1 important item. The first being the key item of the tail. And the tail is going to let them promote their classes. So the black belt would be a master. You'd have your white mages become white wizards, so on and so forth. For Sawneyrath in particular, the thing he's looking at is the Thief to Ninja. Ooh, and the water tile. The water tile is actually a really, really, really good experience tile. So if you have the spells to do it, it's great to pick up. But the other thing he picked up was the Ruse +6 staff. And the Ruse +6 staff is going to cast Ruse on whoever has that staff, which is the best defensive evade magic in the game, and definitely something he's probably very excited to have.
Yeah, that's another newer flag that is one of the things, if you like is really nice. I played some flags recently, and I did know that was on, and I got it, and then I went back to us. Oh, I like this flag. This is a nice flag.
Yeah, so what happens is when you have shuffle item magic, which, like, take the black shirt, power gauntlet, white shirt, Thor hammer, anything that casts magic, and just attribute it to some other random spell in the game. Like, we've seen a fear gauntlet, a couple other things. But what we found was, oftentimes you don't end up with any good defensive magic or any good offensive magic. And so our devs put in a flag that always puts a ruse item in the pool. So if you end up having one of those Tovers that's just a slog, you do have a ruse item to help you get through it.
Well, we found a carry in the volcano location. But as soon as you walk in, she just made herself easier to get to, apparently.
Yeah, well, and Caleb finding Crescent Lake, which, I mean, normally has a key item, but in this case, it's just, ooh, that's the bigger thing. He found the Thief Pub, and Sawneyrath just found Bahamut in Onrak, and instantly promotes.
Which is good, because like you said, for him to finish, he has to have those 2 thieves. Now, to get where the thieves are, he needs that canoe.
And that canoe sitting in the bottom of Northwest Castle. Caleb picking up an Ice +7 sword, though. That is definitely going to be one of the strongest weapons in the game. Not nearly up to Katana 8 level, but that's a very, very nice find up there at Crescent Lake.
It's still gonna work real well when you're swinging at things.
Yes, yeah, pointy side goes to enemy. Enemy die.
Yeah. And he's got that black belt, which can't equip it, but he has 2 red mages. And one of those can, and that's exactly what he did, was throw it on a red mage.
Yeah, and Caleb finding Marsh Top there, one of the big reasons Caleb doesn't care much about Marsh Top, and I kind of alluded to this with how linked chests work, but one of those floors in Marsh, actually the one between Marsh Split and Marsh Bottom, actually has 3 linked chests from Marsh Top. So Caleb already checked those chests while he was in that other transitional room, which is why you saw him just walk out of it instead of going in and check those chests.
Yeah. And doing so is actually a really smart move, because if you can, knock all of that out in one location, as soon as you see the other, you don't have to do it. And it saves a bit of time.
Yeah. Caleb's now finding a fantastic series of rooms. It was Sky 2 into the Armory, into Sharknado, into Ice. Wow, that's got to be upwards of 40 chests or so, maybe.
Yeah, he just found all the boxes.
Yeah, that's the honey hole right there. And now he's basically just got to figure out, how do I get levels, and then I'm gonna go pick up every other chest in the game.
Yeah, because depending on, if, this is the party he keeps, just finding certain things like magic, getting levels, things like that, because with the flags that we already have the loot, we don't need the key. So...
Wait,
I
just realized something. No, sorry. We're playing bingo.
There we go.
I realized we're playing bingo. Bingo doesn't care about how many chests you open, and Bingo doesn't care about any of this other stuff. And you see Caleb unequipping all of his characters to get this Garland boxing tile.
Uh-huh.
But the goal is to do bingo. And Caleb hasn't lit up the Examine All Computers in Sky 3 tile. Yeah. Even though he visited Sky 3 probably half a dozen times. I'm kind of wondering, do you, you gotta remember to do the bingo play, not your orb play.
And we had successfully punched a Garland.
And Sarah has teleported back to Canaria Castle.
Punched a Garland, sent a princess home. It was a very productive day.
And R.M. Stewart, 1981, says in chat, Warmech! Surprise and dismay. Yes, Warmech is unleashed in this particular seed, which means Warmech can show up in any floor, in any tile, in any place in the entire game, just like right there, and nuclear your entire party to death. So our runners have to deal with a buffed Warmech anywhere in the game, and just pray that they can make it out. Ooh, and a ribbon.
Say, that's right, we got a robot in the encounter table. Fun times. Yeah, that's our second ribbon.
Yeah, I think the first one was greater than, less than, right?
Yeah, it was. It was on the box next to. Hey, I think we just saved in the waterfall north of the.
Wait, he didn't actually save though.
Are you sure? I thought he did. Well, he didn't mark it, so maybe he did.
He saved in front of the waterfall. He floated up to the lake, but then reset out before saving. Is he just out of... Can't be out of save.
Oh, he might be. Hold on. I think that was the problem, because he just left good save items. Does he go back? He does not. So I guess he's opting not to do that?
Yeah, but he's making the good choice now to go to Cardia Isles, which has a ton of different entrances to go down. And he found...
I was going to say, he just found Kraken, which he has the bracket Kraken. So, are we thinking about it?
Well,
I think he's probably looking at the board and like, wait, what do I need to do?
Well, to brack a Kraken, you also need Brack.
He has Brack.
Oh, he has Brack? Then what is he waiting for?
I saw it on his menu. Maybe he's worried about not being able to with levels, but those red mages, at least one of them has Brack. It was level 5 with Nuke.
Yes, and again, big shout out to Reese Wolf, tracking for us, and very clearly showing exactly where Brack was.
Yeah, because I remember seeing it when they went into the town, actually specifically when Caleb was buying Nuke, and like saw it, I was like, oh, okay, he's got whatever, because it was one of his tiles. Also, yay, Fade with that party at level 3.
Yeah, that's definitely a nice pickup. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to keep 2 white mages for very long, but now that they actually have some offense, that's a good pickup for them.
He's got the 1 white mage and 2 red mages.
Oh, did he trade one in?
I believe so. Yeah, he's got 2 red mages now. So, but either way, he's got 3 fade casters with that level 3 fade. So that's not shabby.
Yeah, Caleb also finding Buckler +9 in the Elfland shop there. That is a hefty shield. That's very, very good for those red mages.
Which one Sonny finds is going to be very happy about, because he has to have that. Caleb's buying it because it's good. Sonny's going to have to buy it because it's required.
Yeah, he has that collect and keep gloves, cap, buckler, and cloth that he has to fulfill. And Caleb also finding vendored ice +7s. Or is that... Oh no, I think he had silver +9.
Yeah, it was, he saw the, he, I think, sold the katana, so when he brought up his screen to sell it, I think you saw the ice 7.
So Caleb now finding Provoca on the other part of the Cardia top and bottom, and Caleb is about to fulfill one of his required squares, which is melee the pirates. So he's just gonna punch out all 9 of these guys.
We've boxed the garland. Now we're gonna punch some pirates,
and then hopefully give Lich some kicks.
Who needs magic when you can practically just start like bar fights everywhere?
That's awesome. And we just to
it with the whole party and just starts a fight.
And we are pulling back to Sawneyrath's screen. Sawney's finally made his way back to Northwest Castle, and he is going to find his slab and his canoe.
Yeah, I saw him in here once, and I don't think he got out with it. So I remember going, oh, he found it, that's good. But yeah, here's hoping. Because, like, even with Caleb, even with having the higher levels that Sawney has now than Caleb did the first time, but he couldn't. This still is a dicey few floors, given what they're seeing on these floors, to get out of.
Yeah, especially since both runners are trying... Oh, I heard an O. Both runners are trying to keep that...
Oh, sorry, but no, Sawney lost the character and got away from the fight, but then reset out. I'm not sure, maybe that was not intentional? Because he still had 3 characters up, so I'm a little confused by that play.
Yeah, meanwhile, Caleb's finding, like, everything he would ever want in Provoca. He bought 22 houses, he had some good armor, tier 4, and fast, I think, in level 2 magic.
Yeah, it's got now fast. He's got temper he's got nuke, he's got fade, he's got life 2, cure 4, like magic in this. So it's real good.
And then finding on-rack in the next island. So basically, we have an island of towns.
Yeah. And I believe I saw there was 2 pures in the shop there, which means we have no vendor item today.
Yeah, it's always nice when the vendor item is a common item and not like softs, something like that. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say that the way that you would know if it's in different shops is the price is different. So I think it's like the same item but at different prices, and that's how you tell.
Oh, if you had to tell if there's no vendor item.
Yeah, so like if it's heal pop.
Oh no, what it is like and I may be wrong, and if so, someone in chat can yell at me. The way you can tell if there's no vendor item in the seed is the way Caleb just saw in Honorac is if there is 2 of the same item in a shop. So pures were listed there twice. So it's like where there would have been a vendor item, it just puts something that's already there in there twice. So there was like a heal, a house, a tent, a pure, another pure, and then like a soft or something like that. Like it'll list one item twice.
Yeah, and okay, so I was wondering if it could be like I'm getting really confusing here. Whether it would be like it's a pure, but the pure winds up in a slot that doesn't already have pure.
Oh.
See what I'm saying?
I kind of.
That's some.
Sure.
That's some. What's it called? What's the word with an I? Never mind. I'm gonna be quiet now.
Words are hard, and I'm not sure. So. So we're gonna go fight a lich. You're gonna like PM me like 6 hours from now. I thought of it. I got there.
Yeah,
and then
probably.
Be like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. It's fine. We're good. Words are hard. Says the commentators. And on Caleb's screen we have a lich. And we are kicking a lich. Or well, I take that back. We are attempting to kick a lich. Well, that's 3 of them. 4 of them.
See, it's funny because these are supposed to be pretty high connecting spells, but whenever you're playing bingo, they are completely ineffective.
I think it was number 6.
That's a commentator curse in the right way, I guess.
Okay, so we've got it. Chat saying, Caleb hasn't marked his melee the pirates box, and I'm not seeing he marked.
Yeah, he's having a bit of trouble. He keeps getting disconnected, so I'm gonna try to help him out in the background here.
Okay.
Don't mind me.
We're just clicking things. It's like, okay, we're trackers. We know how to click things. We got this.
You think too highly of me, Danny.
Please, I've seen your tracker work. You're real good.
Thank you. You're pretty good yourself.
Oh, thanks. Much better at it than commentary. It's why I'm not sure why I'm the one talking today.
Because it's fun to hang out and talk about Final Fantasy, especially when we have some stake on the field, and we got a floater from Sawney. Good things are happening right now.
I'll admit, it does seem pretty good. Kind of having fun. First, I've seen a few bingo matches, but I've never. And I don't do comms often, so the fact that I've never done comms in a bingo match, experience for me today.
You're doing great. Let's give Danny some love in the chat here. She's doing a fantastic job, and we should support her.
Appreciate that. It's not necessary, chat, but appreciate the thought. Thanks, DVS.
My pleasure. So now we to go back to the game, Caleb has figured out how his bingo works and made his way down to Vanilla Lafane, where he found Gaia. And Sawneyrath has found his floater. I don't remember exactly where he went. If he's gotten out yet. Nope, he's still walking his way out. So he'll have his floater in a couple seconds. Caleb is trying to pick up some extra equipment. He's buying gloves, cap, buckler, and cloth, and we'll see if he has the bottle.
Caleb does have the bottle. He got it with the crown. They were both loose in Waterfall. It's a little hard to tell on this tracker though because it's kind of red and it blends in a little with the background, but he didn't check it. And I kind of see why, because he doesn't really need the item, and let's be honest, that walk to the ferry is a bit of a trek.
Yeah, agreed. And if you're just joining us, we did have a question in chat of like, what is this? So we are playing Final Fantasy Randomizer. It is double anti-bingo, where each runner is assigning their opponent a specific row, column, or tile that they have to complete, and then the runner is required to complete any other row, column, or tile before they are allowed to fight the final boss. So Final Fantasy I on the original Nintendo Entertainment System, everything is shuffled around, including enemies, attacks, floors, entrances, towns, and we're playing some bingo.
You know, I had a thought. Caleb, while yes, was having trouble with the bingo board, still has a couple that he has in fact marked off, but hasn't marked them on the thing. Possibly strategy. They're like, hey, I got it and I marked it, but maybe didn't mark it just yet.
So maybe we try to have a general gentleman's agreement to keep everything updated.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird.
I'm just spitballing ideas because I'm like, why is it? Whether it's like I'm just a teeny bit worried because I doubt he would do that, but it's one of those things. It's like because normally they all do, and I'm a little worried. Like you might need to check back in, make sure he's still connected. Because Ayla, why are you not checking your boxes? They're not showing up. I'm like mentally making notes now, just making sure like every time they do something, like okay, I know they did that, just in case it doesn't show up.
Oh, and actually, I just noticed that our restream doesn't have the updated bingo board. So Caleb has updated his board, and we'll try to get that up and running. The bingo website seems to be booting us out of it every once in a while, and we'll try to get that straightened out.
So it's not us, it's the bingo board. Bad bingo board.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep everything up to date. Everything looks fine so far, at least in terms of what our runners have actually accomplished, and yeah, we'll be keeping track for you.
Okay, yeah, I think like when you refresh it, because I had to do the same because it wasn't showing up for me, and when you refresh it, it's good. So we may just need to refresh it for the on the stream, and I think that'll fix it.
And there it is. And a big thank you to our restreamer Dark Moon, who is taking care of that for us. And yeah, there it is. Thank you for the quick response.
He's so good. I was getting ready to ping him. Didn't even have to. That Dark Moon's good. He's real good at what he does. Thank you, Dark Moon. Wherever you are, hiding in the background.
Yeah, and we are good. We are up to date now. Sawneyrath is just about to get his floater, and I lost track of where Caleb is. Where's Caleb at the moment?
Caleb is a place we've already seen. There, he's at Tia. Which is... And looks like, yeah, we're headed to Tia. So I'm looking, I'm not... Oh, okay. We've got Bane. We're going for a bingo square. Column 1, third one down.
And for Dragon Knight 2024, use no cabins or houses. Jeebus, what sick mind thought of that? I'm asking the same question. Because I have been hit by that tile twice, in 2 different races, and I've only played bingo twice. It is as awful as it looks. It is painful. And not...
Funny enough... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So, and funny enough, it was a square that both runners at the beginning of this had both clicked and were going to use as one of their bingo squares as a free one. And then, before too long, realized that they couldn't find tents anywhere. And both said, nah, we've had enough of this. And both unclicked it. And said, we want our cabins at our house. And said, I don't blame them.
Yeah, I agree. That is a tough square. And we do have Caleb going up against Tiamat. He's trying to bane the dragon. That's column 1, row 3 is what he's looking to do. So you're going to see him do nothing but bane. And that's not just, speedrun strats trying to get the one shot on Tia. He is legitimately having to bane this Tia in order to fulfill one of his squares.
Yeah, I'm using that white mage to cast invis on that red mage so it can keep casting. Like, if it gets punched, it takes a very, very small hit.
Yeah, and it looks like... So, this is not a required square for Caleb, so he's starting to throw out some punches from his black belt. I don't know if he's going to just be okay with completely switching over, but we'll see if he runs out of Banes or if... he actually ends up landing a Bane on Tia.
I'd say for me, he's already got alright, we got there. Bingo square marked. But yeah, that's one that he seems like when he went and punched a garland, or not punched a garland, boxed the garland, and I mean essentially the same thing. And did that seemed like to be the optional row that he had picked and was working on. So I'm not surprised. If he hadn't been able to cast, get that Bane to land, I honestly think there was a good chance that he probably would have reset out and went back in. Which, given the fact that he was already working on that row, makes sense.
Yeah, and we see Caleb walking around. Is he looking for a war mech?
Unless there is something on a square there.
And he's looking for a lizard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's looking... So that bottom left tile is kill 3 different lizards. This particular area does have some lizards on it. I want to say it's further east, though.
This is another reason why a square like that would kick my butt. And that's because I'm not, knowing exactly where you're going to find certain things. That is knowledge that is not something I'm, not information I have readily available in my brain. So, I'd just be everywhere looking for things in all the wrong places.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to have and Caleb finally just went, oh, you know what, they're definitely next to Provoca. I'm just gonna go to Provoca. But yeah, he has to do iguanas, sarias, and agamas would satisfy that kill 3 different lizards. And Caleb's still getting no love on this encounter table. Oof, and Sawneyrath finding both a Vorpal +5 and a Massa +5 in Mirage 1. So that is a nice find. I mean, I think with a black belt and a katana +8, I'd be still leaning towards the ninja and getting that black belt up to 40, but that's a nice option if you want to try to go for the fighter instead.
Yeah, well, again, on Sonic with those 2 thieves, because he still has to find them and get to, which he should be doing here soon, because they're in Crescent, if I'm not mistaken. But once he finds the correct party member store that's got the 2 thieves he has to take, he's got now good, he's like, oh, look at all the really awesome shiny things that they can swing. So he's got that katana, and he can easily put, the Vorpal or the Mazza on the other one, and then, if he's got a red mage with like throw one of them on it, like he's got very good options right now.
Yeah, and so I'm kind of wondering how much they're gonna keep this black belt, or just say, wow, this armor and these weapons are so good that I'm just gonna ignore my black belt and switch over.
Yeah, Sonny, you went in, saw thieves, started to leave, went, oh no, I need a couple, like I have to have 2 of those to win, so.
Oh yeah, and the fact that he already has one of the katanas, yeah, I'd throw the katana on one of the ninjas, throw the Vorpal +5 on another, you can throw a mass on whoever else you have. That's a pretty solid armor set. I don't think I'd look back on that decision.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. That, if you already have to take 2 thieves, I wouldn't be comfortable with like 3 melee people and just 1 mage. So I'd take the 2 thieves and definitely keep like the other 2 mages. And having like not only the options with like the really good magic that we have and the way things played out in the seed with the magic those mages are going to have, the fact that like you have that magic you can throw on one of them too is real good.
Yeah. Well, in Sawneyrath finding himself in the Cardia Isles, you know, it's interesting because Sawneyrath has the kind of he has the kind of board that he could do a lot of things very, very quickly. You know, Cake the Dead, Gloves, Cat, Butler, and Cloth, Save in the Lake North of Waterfall. All of those are very quick and typically easy to find. And he's right next to Provoca and Elfland, which is a pretty hefty magic and where he really needs to end up. So I'm hoping that he doesn't spend too long here and ends up cashing in on that extra magic.
I was looking at just kind of what is left for each runner on the board, and I like didn't really see it the first time, but the canoe from Elfland, from Elfland to Ice Cave, it's like that's a trek. And once you've already got like the floater, like you have to leave it, go on a boat trip, and then come all the way back. It's like, oh, that's a little rough.
Yeah, it's interesting because some of these are very quick, you know, like Save in the Lake North of Waterfall, Garland Boxing, but then other ones are just devastating or can take hours to find. And by hours, I mean, yes, searching for trance for over an hour, not fun.
Yeah, not at all. Or like, you know, the ones where like, you know, Caleb's trying to find the lizards or something like that. Like, those are definitely ones that are going to take much longer than opposed to, like, some of the other ones on the board.
Yeah, and Reese Wolf pointing out in chat, and I think this might be a good pivot for Caleb. He's fighting Carrie right now, which, with a mass on his black belt. So it looks like he might not be relying on that black belt to punch, and he might end up doing the row 3, Bane the Dragon, defeat Carry 1, Cake the Dead, talk to Hooray Dwarf, and take 0 or 3 black belts. That might end up being faster than him trying to find those lizards.
Once, like, you mentioned whatever, and I looked at him, it's like, if you're comfortable, like, and with the gear and stuff we found so far, like, I would be fine, honestly, switching out that black belt for, say, a fighter.
Yeah.
So that row 3 is looking real good.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And that's another good thing with, basically another good thing when you don't do blackout, like, having all those, like, say, it's fine, like, if you say, hey, this is a row that I'm gonna do, that seems good, but if it doesn't work necessarily in your favor, and it's like, oh, well, I've got these on this row, and this one looks like it might be easier, you can, you know, at any point in the time in the race, you can switch from one to the other.
Yeah, one of the things I've noticed is, especially when we're doing floor entrance shuffle, the you can see a row or a column and be like, wow, that is the easiest row or column I've ever seen. And it's, for some random reason, nearly impossible. Like, Talk to the Hooray Dwarf is a very quick and easy tile if you know where Dwarfs is. But if Dwarfs is at the end of C split to Marsh split to Q blocked, it's a lot harder than it looks.
That you make a very good point.
Yeah, and it looks like Caleb has canoed from Elfland to Iceland. He's resetting back, most likely, and then he'll go out from there.
And got lucky that he was able to make like the whole trip without having to save. Because it was a quick reset.
Yeah, having a tough encounter is not something that you really want to see. Yeah, so for in chat, thank you for pointing that out, because we're doing a lot more bingo these days, and pointing out that pink and teal are not the greatest when it comes to color blindness. So what if you see, like, you can see the two shades, kind of the diagonal, that's ones that both have. And if you look at the Take Two's Thieves tile, that's the pink, or the top left is also the pink. And the bottom right, or most of the solo tiles, are the teal. And Caleb, it looks like he's down to killing 3 lizards, looking at computers, and Bracken the Kraken, and then he should be good to go.
I don't think it's done this floor, because on this floor is the, I know the rod is here, which is not on his tracker, so he doesn't have. So he's probably looking for a couple of key items to get into places, because like we saw rod locked earlier, but he couldn't do rod lock. So he may be looking for those items so that he can like search different places for maybe the lizards. I'm honestly not sure at this point. I'm kind of guessing, like, what is Caleb doing exactly?
Yeah. Oh, and interestingly, I think we said that Sawney skipped this one. It had the cube, the Marsh incentive chest. Not only that, it also had a red D tile, and red Ds are actually a pretty good tile. Unfortunately, these guys are pretty buff. I think it took him two full fade casts to put them down, and he might get wiped here.
Sawney finding the loose crystal there on the Agama floor. Maybe useful, maybe not.
Yeah, and we just saw Sawney take a look at his magic, and his magic is not looking good at the moment. And the reason for that is he hasn't found his way to the Elfland and Provoca entrances, which are in the Cardia Isles. I believe they are Cardia Top and Cardia Bottom. So
they are, in fact.
And I think they're like top entrances too. So the sooner he just moves on from this, the better.
Just like we shuffled them up, mixed them around, turned them into they're just neighboring towns now.
Yeah, they're all like just resort islands, just having a good time. You can stay, relax,
hang out, go visit each other.
Well, and now they have a beach. Ooh, yeah, now they have a beach.
Now I'm like, that sounds like a good place for vacation plans. Like, going on vacation, where are you headed to? Provoca? Elfland?
Yeah, Crescent Lake can't have its own little resort island anymore. We all get one too.
And in this scene, it's like, it doesn't even have a lake anymore. We uprooted it, moved
That's
it.
true.
It's just Crescent now. We took the lake away.
So, going back to the game. We playing bingo, and Sawneyrath has been having a hard time. And, like, you'll notice his tiles are not lit up nearly as much as Caleb's have, but part of that has to do with the exploration. Caleb wound up finding Carrie and Lich and a lot of these other tiles much earlier than Sawneyrath has. Ooh, and Caleb finally finding his iguana tile. I wouldn't be surprised to see him just reset out immediately. No, he's sticking in there.
Yeah, he's probably just checking tiles and stuff for things, I'm going to assume.
Yeah, if he hasn't checked Armory, which I don't think he did, because I think when he went down here, he just walked past the Armory, and this might be his first actual check. And so if he ends up finding Sarias or Agamas on this tile, it's definitely a leg up. But I like kind of what you were saying earlier, that in order to play some of these bingo cards, ooh, and that is an incentive key. That's a nice little pickup right there. I got distracted by the key item. That was the key. And an XCal plus 8.
Everything just rolled amazing. Like, I don't think we've seen a single thing. Like, granted, everything, the settings were set to be blurs from 0 to 9, so nothing was going to roll negative. But boy, everything rolled really well. I don't think we've seen a single thing that rolled low. At least not that I can remember.
Yeah, I agree. Like, you know, we had a high-rolling Massa, high-rolling... I think Vorpal and Massa were both plus 5, Katana plus 8, XCal plus 8. There's been some really good stuff that they found.
That's like even the like even just like the ice sword was like 7 or 8. It's just like everything rolled really, really well.
Yeah, ice was plus 7, I think, and armor's been good too. So it's not just limiting itself to weapons; it's also going to some of those armor tiles. And Sonny is finally leaving this forest Cardia. He's heading off to Tiny Cardia, which is Lich, and so Sonny is about to do hopefully his Cake the Dead tile. Ooh, and he found Sarias, but he left. So I don't think he's looking at that Saria tile.
Yeah, possibly not. I mean, the other two things on that row, that bottom row, which he has a couple of things already lit on, are pretty easy. But yeah, anything that's where, like, I have to kill a certain amount of anything of different, like, varieties would scare me off just a little bit.
Yeah, because, like, you got a lot of things you have to deal with those. So I think, like, the enemy varieties and enemy skills, like the Flash Trance tile and the Heat Cremate tile, are some of the hardest because you're really fighting the RNG of the game as much as you are actually trying to strategize and use your skill as a runner.
Caleb came back. I know he saw it earlier and decided it wasn't quite the time. And he's finally gone back to Kraken, so we can mark, hopefully Brackus works real well today. And we can Bracken or Kraken and mark off one more box for Caleb. Wasani makes fairly quick work of Lich.
Yeah, and as we said, typically these spells are at like 25% hit rate, but the second you put it on a bingo board, that shrinks down to about 5%. And Sonny does finally find Provoka and picks up his Cure 4, Harm 4. He's going to find his Fast. He's actually also going to be able to put this on his ninjas, so he'll have Fast and Bane on his ninjas, which is not a bad thing to have going into Topher.
Good news for Caleb. The Brack worked real well and pretty fast today because he was in and out in no time and has one more square marked on the bingo board. So he's just got the 2 left.
Yeah, and this is where Sarias can spawn. They can spawn on the Cardia Isles, and they can spawn over here by Ordeals. So I think Caleb's really going for that kill 3 different lizards tile. I don't know if he's killed Agamas yet. I want to say I assume so, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, like when you're playing this, like it's real easy kind of for you to remember what exactly you killed. It's a little harder for us because we've seen them fight a lot of things.
Oh, interestingly, Caleb, like Sky 3 is actually in Ordeals anyway, so Caleb's already going to his examine all computers in Sky 3.
He might be able to knock off both boxes in the same area.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good chance he's gonna hit that Saria tile on the way out. And as soon as Sky 3 lets him get to the computers, that'll be it. Oh, okay. I have to post this in dev chat. If we're gonna be doing this, look at all of the computer stuff, we've got to have some community quotes here going on these computers instead of the same Tia is the whatever of the wind. Hopefully you can make them all different.
Oh, that would be so fun if we could just take some of the whatever and just put them in there. Honestly, if it's possible, I would not be surprised at all if like the devs do it. 'Cause like I said earlier, like we have the best devs, so it's one of those things where like if it's possible, even remotely kind of possible, I would not be surprised to be like, sure, we got this.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those, like, they're so good that it's, oh, yeah, we can do that. It's already on beta. And it's like, what? I like, literally just said that 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, there's been plenty of times where somebody will throw out an idea and everybody's like, yeah, that sounds really good. And like, in no time later, one of the devs are just posting, all right, well, it's up on the beta site, or it's up on the app, or something. But it's up there now, and I'm just like, wow. Like, I just saw this, like, 5 minutes ago.
All right, well, Caleb has looked at all of his computers. It looks like he's now diving into C-Split. I don't remember what's past here. I'm sure that Reese has it, so I'm gonna start looking down here and see if we can figure out where he's going.
Rod Lock is on the right side, but he did not get the rod off that marsh floor.
Yeah, and so it looks like Reese has put down that the Mermaid side has Rod Locked and the Kraken side has Earth 1. So Earth 1's a great place to look for levels and potentially find a trap tile that has Agamas and Sarias.
Oh. Maya down. X down.
Yeah, I'm not seeing Caleb. Like, Black Belt strats do not seem like it's playing nice for Caleb. And if you look down on the bottom left, we have Sawneyrath heading towards the waterfall. And not only is he going to find Temple of Fiends in this waterfall, he's also going to take a nice little trip into the Northern Lake.
Yes, he is.
Ugh, Badman. Badman's not a tile that you want to see. And it looks like he's not even holding back. You know, Sawneyrath is saying, what do you mean? What do you mean box Garland? Garland's gonna get what's coming to him, and he's going full force. And with that, Sawneyrath has saved in the Northern Lake the lake north of Waterfall, enjoying the sights, taking some time to reflect on the journey that has been past and the journey that's ahead before heading back on his adventure.
Like, I honestly, I think today may have been the first time I've ever even seen anybody go up there, much less go up there and say.
I think the only reason I know about it is because of references to Bingo. So it's kind of cool to see. That and even like the computers. It's kind of cool to see some of these nooks and crannies of the game that we don't usually get to talk about.
Oh yeah, because like the computer rooms and stuff like that, like I've never, ever been to those rooms, ever. Like I would be doing this and y'all would just be watching me get lost on like Sky 3. Oh, it would be the hottest of messes. Or Sky 4, yeah. It would just be the hottest of messes, me just wandering around, lost. Like, wait, where was I a minute ago?
Yes, speaking of Sky Maze, our devs took care of that one too. You can actually make it a maze with walls and barriers and who knows where that teleporter is going to be. Or they'll just teleport the teleporting square somewhere else, and you just have to wander around until you find it.
Oh, I hate the Sky Maze teleporter maze when they switch it up, because no matter what it is, it always just ends up horrible. Like, and I've watched so many people run it, and it's not that bad. It's just, like, never the way it seems to work out, though, for me. Never.
Yeah, you spend, like, 15 minutes walking around, and you finally see a teleporter, you step on it, and you're back in Sky 3. You're like, gotta go back in.
Sonny's got... Oh, hello, Wormack. Sonny's now looking for the 3 lizards that Caleb still needs.
Yeah, so Sonny, his last tile is the collect gloves, cap, buckler, and cloth. That's his last required tile. He has to do that. But yeah, the kill 3 lizards and Bracken the Kraken, those are 2 very, very quick tiles to fill.
Well, that, or if, like, I'm not entirely sure what this is. Stop menuing so fast, Sonny. I'm trying to see what your levels are. Like, he has that tile as an option tile that could be good for the lizards. He also has the one just take the characters to 40 and, Bracken Kraken, which could be something that are quickly done. Because, we've seen Kraken, and, I mean, if you're going to level and take levels anyway, depending on the tile and stuff you find, going to 40 could be fairly quick, and definitely could be quicker than trying to find the 3 different lizards.
Yeah, and especially with foreign entrance shuffle, especially the dungeon creatures are a little bit harder to find. Now, actually, you know what? I just had an idea. If, like, agamas are typically found in the Temple of Fiends on the carry floor, so that's one of those tiles that Caleb might be just saving off because he knows he can run into Sarias on the Lich floor. He knows he can run into Agamas on the carry floor. So you might not see Caleb fill that until he dives Topher, and he might just be here for levels. Yeah, Demon RHK asking, what are we running here? Double ante? Yes, we are running double ante bingo. So Caleb has told Sawneyrath that Sawneyrath needs to fulfill column 3. And Sawny has told Caleb that Caleb has to do top left to bottom right. So, as typical double ante bingo, as soon as they fill in their required row, column, or diagonal, they have to fulfill 1 more before they can actually fight chaos. So, Danny, we're kind of hitting the end game here. What would you be thinking for Caleb's party right now?
The party he has, I like. because he's like the magic alone that he has on the mages he has 3 life 2 casters, he's got 3 fate casters, he has 2 nuke casters, 2 fast, 2 temper, 2 like all the magic you want he's got on those mages, plus that black belt that it's gonna be hello Horador. But they're all, that's a really good solid party. And not knowing, what exactly the bosses may have, because we are clamped today, and the scaling, it could be okay, it could be real bad. So I like the party as, and Sony's party honestly isn't really bad either, simply because could not ask for better equipment, given this seat. Like, more than half of his party is swinging really, really, really nice swords. So I think both are going to go into the end game in really good positions, even though their parties are drastically different.
Yeah, I agree. This seed has kind of made almost any party viable. I'm trying to figure out what Caleb's looking for. Did Caleb ever pick up the tail?
I don't think he did. I didn't see him, and it's not marked on his tracker. So I know he saw Bahamut. I never saw him get the tail. If he keeps this party, I don't think he would care much for the tail, because typically with a black belt, you don't really care to class change, and I haven't seen anything he'd want to class change for.
The only thing I can see him want to class change for is that Vorpal +5. You have a Massa wielder and a Vorpal wielder. I mean, if he, like, that black belt, he doesn't have to take it to 42. He could just take it to 32 if he has that Vorpal and that Massa. So I'm wondering if he's looking for the tail.
Possibly. I'm not sure.
Like,
I'll have to ask him, because I'm honestly, I'm trying to figure out. It's like I'm honestly not 100% sure exactly what to, unless maybe, like you said, he'd want a class change, maybe deciding, like, if he can't find all the different dragons, to maybe swap that black belt out for a fighter. Maybe try the other column. I'm honestly, I'm not sure.
yeah, like, I think...
Or he has a black belt, which doesn't require any type of swords. If he doesn't equip, well, no, because I think that's if you use no swords. Is that like all game? I'm assuming that's all game, because if that's the case, he's already used one. Then, well, that ship sailed.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm staring at the bingo board and trying to figure it out, and I don't know.
Yeah, Sawneyrath just took a long look at his menu, and he has cap, buckler, and cloth. I think he's just missing gloves for that last tile. And then it's a matter of what's the other thing that he's looking for? He could do Bracken the Kraken.
Yes.
And yeah. Kind of
Which, and I think he saw, like, I know we know where Kraken is because we saw Caleb do Kraken. Sonny was in that area. I don't recall if Sonny went to the party that was Kraken, though. Now, if he's been there and seen it, he knows that that's something he can easily do to mark that square off. And then he's just then in the same position as Caleb of looking for the 3 different lizards to mark that box off and then storm Topher.
Yeah, I get this feeling that Caleb's looking for a grind and Sonny's looking for gloves. I get, like, either that or he didn't find Kraken and he's looking for Kraken's gloves.
Recent chat pointing out the one thing I missed, like, Sonny could also, if he decides to do Kraken, doesn't have to do the lizards, because then he can just get a character to 40. Although his levels seem a little low, so he's got a way to go on that one. Which, I mean,
Yeah.
he's probably gonna want slightly better levels going into Topher anyway.
Yeah, we just saw, it looks like he's in the low 20s for some of those characters, and to try to devote a grind all the way up to 40, that's going to be kind of tough.
I'm spending so much time looking at the board, trying to kind of figure out what's left to do, what they're, everybody's gonna want to do, and I'm just looking at it and I'm like, if I was Caleb right now, I would be really, really upset. Like, I get why I didn't use houses or, cabins in the early game, but I would really be wishing right now that I hadn't, because I'd be done.
So, Sonny just went through Broadlocked and was immediately greeted by Cube Lock.
I saw that. And that's the one tile there in that earth floor that he didn't check. Or not earth, but marsh floor he didn't check, that just happened to have the cube behind it.
Oh, right. That was in the Marsh incentive chest.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sonny didn't have any way to save, so when he looked in there, he didn't do it because I don't think he wanted to step on that tile and wipe again. So when he didn't do it, he left the cube there, and then we saw Caleb pick it up later on.
Yeah, it looks like Caleb's working on killing his party. Sonny is kind of taking a walk of shame out of Rodlocked. And I think at this point it's a matter of levels. I think it's a question of what level do I need to be at with this party to dive Topher? And I get the feeling that Caleb is trying to figure out that question more than the lizard question.
But say, Caleb, I'm not sure which looking for there, buddy, because if it's Lich, we ain't there.
Yeah, I'm confused. I want to say he's just trying to Dan off his party members, but I don't know. Alright, so we do have Sawneyrath just pulled up Saurias, which is one of the 3 lizards that we need. So if he can take out these Saurias, which he just did, so that's another one, and then head over to Cardia to Bracken the Kraken, I mean, all he has to do is go in the right shop and it's a glove. And thank you, Ragnarok784, by the way. Yo, Ragnarok. Answering DM Stewart's question, Ganoff. Yeah, that is a kind of a Final Fantasy in general. Kind of, I don't know what the word for it is. But I want to say that when Final Fantasy runs were very popular early on, one of the characters was always named Dan, and Dan always got taken out very early game and basically was killed off for the whole run. So when we say Dan off, it's the same thing as down, kill, take a nap, whatever other euphemism you would like.
Although it's now become a thing where here in just our community, it's a thing where it's not Dan off, it's dang off, because a lot of times, as a show of our appreciation and love for one of our community members, Dangling, in which we do it because we love him, because Dang's great. But a lot of times, like, there's certain members of our community who will name a character Dang, and then he's the one that doesn't survive.
Yes. It's very, very, very appropriate. Again, I do not know what Caleb's looking for.
Yeah. Oh! I think that's the first time we've seen Nuke come out of Warmech.
Okay, so that's actually really good.
Yes, it is.
So the skill and spell words. The skills and spells for all of the final fiends in the game are shared amongst themselves and Warmech. So basically what that means is if we see a nuclear and a nuke on Warmech, we know that we're not going to see nuke or one of those nukes or nuclears on one of our Temple of Fiends Revisited bosses. So it's kind of a good and bad thing.
Yeah, I would definitely rather see it right now on a Warmech that isn't gonna affect like my in-game, that I'm just gonna reset out of and it's gonna be fine, than I would see it, say, on Chaos, and then it wrecked my entire Topher die.
Yeah, well, Caleb just pulled up, he's in the Northwest Castle, and he's looking at the trap tiles there, and he found Zombie Ds in one tile, and now he found the Zombie D Whiz Vamps on the other tile. These are two very good party grinds. They're not great for solo, but, you know, with his party where it's at, he could get his whole party up pretty quick with this, except for the poison. Yeah. Yeah, you might want to avoid the poison.
It's a little unfortunate. However, everybody I see but the one character did pretty okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think he might actually take it as an advantage, because in Final Fantasy, all of the experience is split evenly amongst your party members. So let's say you get 1,000 experience for an encounter, each individual party member, if you have all four, would get 250. But if you only have 3 party members, they all get 333, so on and so forth. But yeah, so it's actually an advantage for him to get rid of some of these characters, particularly having them be stoned. And yeah, so he's working his grind.
Yeah. And Sonny here about to kill Carry 1, which gives him a bingo in one direction, and then he still only needs the one item, I believe, for his required bingo. And then he will be Topher ready. Well, assuming he's happy with levels and such.
Yeah, I mean, I think he just needs gloves. It's easy to find gloves. Just go to a shop and buy some gloves. I'm sure they're going to look great. You know, they'll probably match.
Right?
Just buy some gloves. Then you'll be fine.
Finish killing Carrie, go on a celebratory shopping spree.
Yeah, so to answer a couple questions in chat, if you're newly joining us, we are playing double anti-bingo, which means that each runner chooses a row, column, or diagonal for their opponent, and then they have to complete one more row, column, or diagonal in order to be able to face the final boss. So Sawneyrath was given column 3, and all he needs to do to satisfy column 3 is buy some gloves. And you saw him already pick his optional row 3. And so all he needs is those gloves, and he can go and fight the final boss.
Basically, what we have is we just have the two, like both players, both one square away from being able to take on Topher and finish the game. I think, okay, well, Sonny and Gaia, let's say checking magic, and then headed in, you know, look, do a little shopping, buy some gloves. And he is now officially, he's got his required bingo, he has his second bingo that he chose, row 3, all marked out, pretty in pink. So if he's like happy with levels, he can do Topher now.
Yeah, and that's a big if though, because last time we checked, he was in the low to mid 20s, and with our bosses at, I believe, 200 to 400% with their HP, that is a bold and daring statement to try to get into Topher that early. He just bought 20 houses, so I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up looking for a grind somewhere, and yeah. And we'll see where he ends up.
Yeah, buying 20 houses is not something you typically do when your next stop is Topher.
I haven't seen where Caleb's levels are at right now, but he's throwing out nukes and fades. It looks like he's got, actually 2 red mages in his black belt. I think this is smart. Like, with these clamps and this scaling, I just think this is a smart move.
2 of those red mages were, stoned, and he brought one back to get the extra levels on it. And to me, that tells me that he got that black belt and the other red mage up to levels where he was comfortable enough, like bringing maybe another one back. But yeah, he's low 30s on. Yeah, he's 31 on a red mage and a black belt, and he's 27 on the other red mage that's up.
Well, it looks like, I was kind of wondering where Sawneyrath was going because, kind of going out of his way. But he's got the red D tile. The 4 red Ds is a ton of experience. Both of these guys have some pretty good tiles. And I think in the greatest irony I've seen, Sawneyrath hasn't checked the chest yet.
No, I was sitting there. I was like, oh my goodness. The one place he didn't check before, like, he came back, he's got this tile, and it's the cube he needed just a bit ago, just to, like, if he wanted to check past there. Yeah, I'm curious to see if he'll actually. He doesn't need it, but I am curious to see if he'll check it.
Well, even just with picking up that cube, it's an extra 5% experience scaling as well, so there's that benefit. I just find it funny that of all of the places he went to grind, it's literally directly in front of a key item.
Uh-huh. And even more slightly amusing is the fact that he just, it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna do whatever. I'm not even worried about what's behind that box. Or behind it in the box.
What's in the box?
Like, see, for me, if I'm there, just curiosity alone, I'd have to check it. Wouldn't need it, but would have to check it.
Yeah, I open far too many boxes. It's one of those things just kind of keep having to work on. We did find that, again, it's a good tile. Both of our runners are getting up their levels pretty high. Jat2980 in chat, asking about what's the end game? How do you win? And simply put, if you fulfill your required row and 1 additional row, then you are allowed to fight chaos. Now note, I didn't say you're allowed to enter Topher. You can enter Topher whenever you want. It's just a matter of having those 2 rows, columns, diagonals to fight chaos. Oh god. Oh no. Oh, Caleb. Caleb just lost his grind.
I was about to say, please tell me I didn't just see what I thought I saw. Oh.
And he's going right into Topher. Yeah, Caleb was doing a grind. He was probably in there for a good 5-10 minutes, something like that, and ended up getting stone touched by one of the zombie dragons.
That hurts. Like, not even as a player, just watching that happen, that's rough.
Yeah, that's you never want to see that. Oh, it was glance? Yeah, if it was a glance. Well, I didn't see what his black belt's level was at.
Last I looked, it was like 32.
Yeah, if it was at level 32, his MDef was probably pretty high. Not at the point where you're like super confident, but it's pretty high. So Z-Man asking, what's Caleb's second bingo? He doesn't have his second bingo yet. If we were to guess, I'd say it's gonna be that bottom left tile, the kill 3 different lizards. but he's been a little erratic for the last couple plays.
Yeah, that either, let's say that one, or like that is his, like he can't do the top one because he's used cabins or houses. He can't do the second row or the fourth column because he's, I believe, used swords. Yeah, he's used swords. So his options are either kill the three different lizards or switch over to that fifth column, which is take one character to 50 and then swap that black belt out for a fighter or a thief.
Yeah, he could also go to 40, keep the black belt, yeah, and take 2 thieves. So you could keep the black belt and keep the 2 thieves for row 4. I don't see him going out of his way for, like, it looks like what he's setting up right now, it looks like he's trying to do a solo black belt grind on chimeras. And just praying that it goes faster than the red keys.
Yeah, like if I had to choose between like the swap the black belt out or swap out like 2 of those mages for thieves, I'm gonna swap that black belt out for either a thief or probably a fighter, simply because I think it might be the quicker option, because then you still have all the casters of magic and, or like the magic, you have your phage, your lights, your nukes and all those things. And with the fighter, like with that ninja, losing 2 mages, or not 2 mages, but losing one of those mages, you might like want to go buy all this, like all the things for the ninjas. I think swapping it out for a fighter might be the quicker idea.
Yeah, well, especially since we have some really good armor, and yeah, you know what? I don't think Caleb promoted because he never found the tail. Because, we did find that Opal +9 armor, we had the Excal +8, we have the Vorpal 5.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how much not finding the tail is playing into Caleb's decision to try to do this black belt grind. Man, and Sonny's only in the mid-20s?
Yeah.
That is a slow grind.
Yeah, and in chat, it was answered, but chat, someone in chat did ask if Sonny has a thief white red. And yes, he does. And he started out with a different party, but the one bingo column that Sonny had to take was column 3, which required him to take 2 thieves. So once he found the town that had 2 thieves, because we are playing with tavern mode on, which means each town that has like a clinic will have, oh no. So that has the clinic will have like the characters you can get new ones from. And while I'm explaining that, I look up and Caleb's black belt is dead again.
So, an unfortunate update. Caleb has, as the captain of the Center for Competitive Forfeiting, has finally taken to his name, done his team proud, and taken a forfeit for this one. After losing that grind and losing another grind from Temple of Fiends, and having our seed go for over 2 hours now, Caleb's made the decision to call it in. Still worthy of GGs. This was definitely not an easy seed, and they definitely had to fight through a lot for this one.
Yeah, I don't blame him. This has not been necessarily an easy seed by any means anyway, but to have all that happen, yeah, like losing 1 grind is bad. Losing 2 is awful. So GG to Caleb, that was rough. And I do not blame him at all for just like saying, nope, I've had enough.
And it looks like Caleb might want to come in and talk. So we'll check in. Give me 1 second.
back into the greater than less than room, got that katana +8. Really stuck that on one of his thieves, or Yoshi's, or as they are today. Chat asking, did he lose his grind again? Yes. Unfortunately, that is exactly what happened. Say, Sonny stopping to fight a Warmech. I'm not sure if that's what he meant to do or if it was just like, hey, we found a Warmech, so we're gonna fight him.
So just checked in with Caleb. He just wanted to say thank you to to Danny, Darkmoon, and Reese and myself for pulling up comms, pulling up some restream, and doing the tracking for us. He has an appointment he needs to go to, but he just wanted to share his thanks and appreciation for us and for you guys over in RPG Limit Break, the fans who are watching and supporting this. So we're gonna keep up with Sawny, trying to see how he's doing. I want to know how this Topher is gonna look.
He ran back in, got that katana 5 at a greater than less than. Dang! Started walking in a direction. I was like, wait, where is he going? And stopped to fight this Warmech. So I'm thinking maybe this was the plan, to be like, hey, maybe this is a quicker way to get levels if I can get through it.
Yeah, I mean, if he's already. Come on.
4426 just got quite a bit experience.
Oh, that was way too close.
Yes. Oh, yes, it was. Thankfully, he's real close to a town with a party member store, and everybody's back.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Sawny, you're going, hey, I can kill Warmechs now. Why do something else when I can kill Warmechs?
Possibly. But he did get up and was like, yeah, I think we're out of here.
Yeah, so at the moment, really, it's a matter of when does Sawny want to head into Temple of Thieves Revisited. We have some crazy scaling here. We have enemy stats from 100 to 300 with HP at 50 to 300. Boss stats are clamped 100% to 300% with HP scaling 200 to 400. So this is going to be a hefty Topher here, and we'll see, because I imagine Sawny's going to do a dive, and we'll see how bad this gets. Making his way in so far, nothing much to speak of. Running into some worms and some ghasties, which are pretty straightforward. We'll see if he checks the validation chests, and it looks like he's gonna bypass them this time. Danny, do we remember if he has the roost staff?
I'm pretty positive he does.
Yeah, because if he has that ruse staff, and with the party that he has, especially having like a red mage and a white mage who have life, being low leveled in this dive might actually not be a bad idea.
At least on that white mage, I know he has like invis and he has the roost staff, so it's possibly a little risky because, like you said, with the clamps and stuff the way they are, they very easily could roll low, and this may not be a problem at all. However, it's having that roost staff and having the magic that we do have in this seed makes it seem a lot more doable than it may have otherwise at these levels. But we shall see.
Yeah. And to answer some questions in chat, yeah, Caleb did a forfeit, having to go somewhere and losing about 2 or 3 grinds, totaling about 20 to 30 minutes. He called it, and we're still throwing GGs to Caleb because this seed is pretty awful. But to answer the question of why did I talk about the ruse stuff? Well, the way that magical items work in Final Fantasy Randomizer, or just Final Fantasy in general, is that they give an infinite number of casts of whatever magic is associated with them. So the ruse staff casts an infinite number of ruse spells. And what ruse does is it increases your physical evade. And so by casting ruse, it basically can eventually make it impossible for any boss or enemy to do physical damage to you.
Yeah, with the ruse staff, granted, the staff itself, you can only the character, the party member that has it can only cast it on themselves. But 3 casts of that, and you are evade capped, which means, like you said, unless you get hit through max evade, which can happen, but it's very unlikely. Having that ruse staff makes the person who uses it, if you can get evade capped, pretty invincible. Like, you're still gonna take damage from spells and stuff, but you can't, physical damage, you're not gonna get, punched in one shot by, Kraken 2. So it's really, really good to have.
Yeah, and Lich doing a good job of telling us how bad this Topher is going to be by opening up with a nuke. Fortunately, Sawneyrath has enough healing spells to be able to counter that, and Lich also showing us how much 200 to 400 HP can look like, eventually getting it down. But if Lich is going to be that devastating, I can't imagine what this carry and Kraken are going to look like.
Yeah, going in with clamps and stuff like that, the easiest way to tell what you're in for in the later game is seeing what you see in the enemies going into that beforehand, and it can kind of give you an idea. But still, just going in, it's one of those things that I don't play clamps and stuff very often, but boy, do they make me real nervous.
And by the way, for those of you who are new to the concept of clamped, which is, for myself, I was new to it as well, and I've been throwing that word around. Basically, it means that the floor is 100% scaling, which means it's vanilla. So instead of most of our normal sets of scaling, which allow you to go below 100%, it's below vanilla levels, this scaling starts at vanilla HP and just goes up from there. And while I was talking, was that zapped through 2 ribbons?
I'm not 100% sure, but kinda looked like that. Whatever it was, something went real wrong, and we are now on attempt number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I know that Sonny has at least 1 ribbon, and that did not look good.
Yeah, I know we got the ribbon out of greater than less than. I don't know if he got the second one. But either way, having anything go through a ribbon like that, that's not fun.
Yeah, and that's just kind of like a morale hit too, because we've already had a rough, Lich 2 was not the speed bump that Lich 2 normally is. We've already had a long seed. Warmeth has not been kind to either of our runners, and so we're gonna have to see if he decides to pivot from this. If he takes another dive, we'll see where he goes.
It's one of those things where it's rare when you see a 1v1 where both players are like, nope, had enough of this. But I could easily see where this seed might be the one that's just like, no.
Yeah. Well, to answer your question in chat, Caleb threw in the forfeit. It's one of those. This was a awful seed, and there does get to be a point where playing a game turns into something that's more harm than fun. And I always think when you hit that point, take care of yourself. He also had somewhere that he needed to be, so was already running up on time. So Caleb did forfeit, but we're gonna try to cheer on Sawneyrath as he does his next dive, and hopefully he'll actually be able to make it through this Topher to show us how awful things actually were down here.
It's like, to quote, it was during a broadcast. I think it might have even been the first one of our fall league, which ended here recently. But one of our community members, Groggy Dog, shout out to Groggy Dog. I remember him saying in that first race, and he was on his link team was with Caleb, and it was that sometimes it's something along the lines of sometimes you just have to give up on a seed that is given up on you. And I kind of feel like that's what Caleb did today, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's funny. When I started in the community, I was one of those people that was like, I'm never going to forfeit. I'm always going to go through and fight the seed to the end, which I did most of the time. But there are certain times when the game just stops being fun, and at that point, throw in the towel, because you want to keep this game fun for as long as possible, because it's awesome. And you get a bad seed, forfeit, move on with your life, and we'll see. Again, Caleb, Sawneyrath is pulling up this carry 2 again. Kind of similar defensive strategies, throwing in Cure 4s. There's that Zap coming out again, and Zap only hitting one of his Light Warriors this time. So he's putting out tons of damage. If there's anything that's going on with his party, is he can hit and hit and hit and hit. And there goes carry 2 down already, and our tracker confirming that there actually only was one ribbon on Sawneyrath's party. So he's probably gonna be taking it gentle through the rest of this Topher, hoping that he doesn't see a Bane. But it's nice to know that against someone like carry 2, you can still you can do a ton of damage with this party.
Yeah, especially given the combination of the weapons we've seen and the magic that he has. Like you said, they're gonna work real well together.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this, a while ago when we first found Fast at a low level, and Sawneyrath going back to pick up Fast on those ninjas, it actually might end up making a big difference in this play, because he doesn't have to conserve Fasts. He can use his fast cast whenever he wants, and typically you're trying to ration off Fast to make sure you have enough for Chaos. But he's going to be dealing some hefty damage all the way through these refights.
Yeah, plus having that Fast, having those spells on the ninja or on both of them, gives him the ability to, say you get on Chaos. You switch that Ruse Staff to, because at this point you don't need a Life Caster anymore. You take that Ruse Staff off one of the mage that you have it on to keep a Life Caster up, and then that ninja's able to ruse itself so that it's okay. Well, he's got it on a ninja now. See, and the way he used it, that ninja use that Ruse Staff to make cap itself, and then if need be, it has the spells it needs, like Cast, cast on itself, and then say like your mages go down, that ninja is no longer dependent on having a mage to cast that spell for them.
Yeah, and I like the strategy that he's using right now, which is putting a ruse staff on a ninja and then casting ruse with that white mage.
Yeah.
And what it does is it allows you to, get a lot of damage out with that ninja, but also have the security of those life casts when this, hopefully when this Kraken goes down.
And as long as he's careful of his levels with things like Inferno and things like that are dropping his HP. Oh, we just lost our second life caster. Like being able to ruse 2 characters to get through that fight is much better. Oh no! All right, we're down to a ninja who's taking punches.
Yeah, and
okay, well, I opened my big mouth, and then he gets punched through Maximate. Oh, no. Okay, so Kraken 2 has Nuke. That was fun. Oh, man, this Topher.
Yeah, not pretty. And again, he's going in very low leveled. So... Yeah, and Sawneyrath saying, you know what? 3rd time's a charm. Let me go through this one more dive, and we'll see where we end up. So, he has the information. He knows what he needs to do in order to make it through this Topher, and let's root him on and give him the support he needs to try to get through this Topher all the way to chaos.
That's the only one good thing about that comes from say if you wipe on a beam is at least going back in, what to expect and can adjust accordingly to get you through that fight easier.
Yeah, and one of the things about this is it's not the worst Topher in the world in terms of just standard encounters. You got a couple unrunnables, but overall it's not the worst. I mean, really obviously the fiends themselves are pretty bad, but not too much to worry about. Not too much to worry about on the way to the fiends.
Yeah, like you said, we haven't really seen much. Oh, jeez. Okay, well, I don't recall seeing Brack on the Girl Medusas before.
Yeah, well, hopefully he bought a ton of softs.
I know, I was about to say, Sonny, please tell me you have softs.
And here we go, 3rd time's a charm. I'm sure we're going to see some fast casts, we're going to see some good healing, and yeah, hopefully we'll get through this one.
It's like, Sonny, hope you got softs, and he had 20 of them.
See, I feel like I've been hit with so many times that I am down to 0 softs and have 3 stoned light warriors. Anytime I get enough money and I'm in a town with softs, I hit 20, 30 of them. I know I'm only going to use 2 maybe, but I'd rather be safe than sorry.
I've never bought that many unless it was on accident, which I have done before, and then think I've bought 30 cabins, and I look and I'm like, where'd all my money go? And then I look at my thing and I went, oh, that's because I just bought 30 softs. But I do, like you said, always make sure to get those early. It's something I learned when I was learning how to play. Shout out to Lord Fizzlebeef, who taught me all the things I do. One of the things he always told me was, always if you have the money, because Canary is a town where you're always going to find softs and pures. So, and these are things that you're likely going to need and see, is if you've got the money, don't leave that town without, it was typically 20, and if I've got it, that's usually what I'll buy, pures. If not, I don't have the money, but I'll make sure I at least sleep with a few. And unless softs are really expensive, I'll buy what I'm able to afford. If not, as soon as I'm able to afford them, I make sure I have them. Because without fail, as soon as you don't have them, you immediately need like multiples. And you're like, oh, come on, game.
Yeah, and I love Reschool pointing out in chat, now that we have buy quantity as a flag, just buy 11.
Yep. Yeah, it goes up to
buy.
1 to 11 to 21. So yeah, my peers went from 10s to 20s to 11 or 21.
Well, and now that we're kind of talking about learning the game, I think this is a good opportunity to shout out to our Discord, FinalFantasyRandomizer.com, and it has a link to our Discord. And there's honestly an amazing community there that's there to help you learn the game. It's there to help you answer any questions you have, and this is a perfect time because we are just starting up our Duckling Boot Camp, which is our new player program. And oh my.
Oh no.
Oh no. Hey, Sawneyrath.
Hello.
GG, man.
Hello.
We just saw that last zap from Carrie, and are just kind of sitting in awe of what we're looking at.
We went as silent as, sorry for the bad joke, but as the characters on the screen just didn't know what to say, because, oof.
Yeah, the biggest problem was there was only one ribbon that I had found. If I had found an extra ribbon, and I imagine Wall was locked at level 8, if I had found a second ribbon, potentially even a third, that could have been mitigated quite a bit. But otherwise, there wasn't much I could do.
Yeah, it seemed like just that. Well, and the fact that you did have that ribbon and you got zapped through it twice. I mean, it's kind of some garbage RNG right there.
I mean, 3 and 256 is going to happen.
I feel a little bad telling you because there was a second ribbon, and we saw where it was. I feel a little bad telling you where it was, though.
You can go for it.
It was in Toph Locked.
I didn't have the key.
No, actually,
yeah,
I don't think it was in
have the
Toph
key.
Locked. I think it was in top left.
Are you sure about that? I thought it was Toph Locked. Well, either
Reese
way,
is
it was
saying it's
one
not
of those.
Toph Locked, and I trust
Oh,
Reese.
was it? It was Toph. Okay, well, I knew it was in one of them. See, this is what I tell y'all.
At least go
I
in.
shouldn't do comments that I should try because I'm better at it.
I'll at least go in to check top left.
But yeah, it was that's where it was.
Yeah,
I knew it was there. So yeah.
So what, talk about the seed overall. I mean, this kind of ended up being with the clamps this high. It seemed like it was, we'll get to 30s and 40s before you do a real dive, and already being 2+ hours in, already been a lot of Final Fantasy. Just kind of how are you looking at the seed, bingo, and this match today?
So the seed I actually enjoyed. There were a couple roadblocks, which was okay. I actually miskeyed at one point and accidentally reset after I grabbed Slab and Canoe again when I went to refresh
we were
Bingo
wondering
Sync.
about that one.
Yeah, I was going to refresh Bingo Sync and just miskeyed altogether, and yeah. As for the clamps, I mean, when I made this flag set, I meant for it to be difficult. The thing that made it even more difficult was that I got forced into 2 thieves here at the end. And I ran that for quite a while through the seed. If I hadn't been forced into 2 thieves, I think I could have completed this. The only barring circumstance would have been Kraken 2. Because Kraken 2 had a lot of hits, punched really hard, had nuke, and could crit through max evade.
Yeah.
It's the thing is, like you mentioned, is your whatever with the seed was the 2 thieves. And the sad thing is the seed gave you all kinds of great things, like amazing weapons and all these things kind of for them. But the way like it kind of rolled, it was just like, yeah, well, sorry about your luck. But then Caleb, who was able to take the black belt, didn't have to take the thieves, does the black belt, but did 2 separate black belt grinds and lost both of them. It was rough. Like watching both, like you both, the things that you got dealt that were difficult for you both were completely different, but you both like just had the roughest time.
Oh yeah, and I mean having clamped enemies as well makes it a thing.
Yeah. I think I remember, I know Caleb said it when I was talking to him last night about the flag set, and he was explaining some things. And I want to say either one of you said something like in the thing about the way, like, oh, it's set in the way that things are. It shouldn't be that bad. It shouldn't take too long. It was just like, I think y'all jinxed yourself.
We did.
It's like, can you commentate and curse a race of your own when you're not on comms with your own player? Because it kind of feels like that's what y'all did.
Yeah, we actually did, and it's kind of funny because I was just thinking about that as well, and it's hilarious to think about. It's unfortunate as well, but it's very funny to think about.
It's
and
like,
I think this is probably one of the first Irongol races we've had where both people didn't finish.
I quoted Groggy Dog from something he said doing comms in a race one day. It's like, sometimes you just have to give up on a seed that has given up on you. And I was like, if there was a day where like 2 people, because we don't see it often in any like race where 1v1 and it's so bad that both forfeit, but if there was going to be a day, like today feels like today's an appropriate day for it, because boy, this seed was very unkind to y'all.
Yeah, so having been on for about 2.5 hours now, I think we'll start to wrap some things up. So Sonny, do you have any last thoughts for us before we get out of here?
I mean, outside of GG's to Caleb, clamped enemies really weren't that bad, even if they're clamped 100 to 300, as long as you do not clamp their HP. And then with boss HP scaling, the stats at 100 to 300 is fun, but the HP at 200 to 400 will really make you start sweating if you're not properly prepared.
Yeah, it did seem like that it was that combination of both that, where you can mitigate some of the high stats, you can mitigate the HP, but having to deal with both takes a lot of preparation going in. So Danny, why don't you give us some closing thoughts, and we'll start wrapping some things up.
I'd gladly. GG to Caleb and to Sonny both for sticking with this as long as they did. It was my first time doing comms on a bingo thing, so I learned a lot. It was a lot of. It actually was I felt bad that it turned out the way it did for you guys, but it was actually a lot of fun. I've had fun. I want to give just a couple of things just with the Discord, and I'll drop the link and some fun things in the chat. But coming up this week, we go back to anyone who's watching and interested. We're going back to our weekly races next week. We've had a busy few months in which we weren't having them, thanks to Fall League and some other things. But we go back to those. They are Mondays at 9, Thursdays at 10:30. Anyone in the Discord is welcome to join those races. They have different flag sets each week. You'll know what the flag sets are on Sunday, so you know ahead of time. We go back to those next week. DVS was talking about it earlier, our Duckling program. It is a new player program. Every Monday, there is a new seed designed to teach Ducklings. It's much easier than these flags. And there's a new one every Monday. But a couple times a year, we do what is called our Duckling Boot Camp. And what that is, and we started it last night here on RPG Limit Break, where we do a restream, which each week, it's 8 weeks. Each week is a different flag set designed to teach something new in the randomizer and the flags to new players. Every Sunday at 10 o'clock Eastern, here on RPG Limit Break, we will be doing a stream in which The flag set for that specific week will be talked about. All the different things in the flags will be explained, and then someone will run a seed of those flags so you can kind of see how it plays out, routing, just all the things about that flag set. And then the next day, that flag set is going to be what is used for our Duckling Weekly. Anybody's welcome to join. You know, if you're new, come in and join the community. Get yourself a shiny new role, be a duckling, run those seeds and learn. And we love having new people on. Right now is a great time for new people to join and learn. And then after the 8 weeks of the Duckling Boot Camp, we have what is called our Duck Derby, which is a tournament specifically for ducklings. Only people in it are new players. It's 4 races, typically over 2 weeks. It's a lot of fun. And I participated in it. I know Sonny at one point was a duckling. DVS was at our most recent Duck Derby. It is an absolute blast. I encourage anybody who's even remotely interested, join the Discord, take part. It is a lot of fun. But yeah, all those are here on RPG Limit Break every Sunday. And if you're just interested in our races in general, we have, if you join the Discord, a spectator role that you can get. And anytime we have a race, it's pinged so you'll know when something's going on. But yeah, other than that, and I know I just said a lot. Sorry, everybody. Just thanks to Reese and DVS and Dark Moon who were on crew with me today and helped make this whole thing possible to be restreamed, and to RPG Limit Break for having us as often as they do and letting us carry on our craziness. They're great, and we appreciate them doing so. And now I'll be quiet and let DVS say what he has to say and close us out.
Well, you pretty much covered it all, Danny. So all I can say is, thanks again to RPG Limit Break. Danny, my co-coms. This was fun. It was our first time comming together. I enjoyed myself. I hope you enjoyed it too.
Fun.
Thank you all for watching, and thank you again to Dark Moon for restreaming, Reese Wolf for tracking. Please join our Discord. And other than that, everybody, have a great evening and, approaching the upcoming holidays.